Test 1 2. Hey, I wanted to do. I want to get your. I want to get my subscribers or the people watching this video's opinion on this. Just want to get your opinion and write some comments. I'm trying to make this video really short as possible. I was watching some videos that came up on YouTube. It was basically an instructional video on the different procedures that you need to go through to work on an SSL 9000, I believe it was a 9000G console, and it was always like it's like an instructor asking a student, what do you need in this, and how do you do that, and what are you supposed to do next, and what buttons are you supposed to push, and so forth, right? And I also saw an API console where it was like the guy was explaining there's a procedure that you have to follow, and you have to follow these steps to pass. You get 17 minutes or something like this to pass this step sequence for different things that they want you to do. And this is kind of like stuff like they would teach you in audio engineering school. But the reason I'm making the video is not because of the things that you would need to do and how to use the SSL console. I was commenting, I made a comment that said, thank goodness for DAWs, LOL, laughing out loud, right? And the guy commented back, he said, DAWs are cool, but I'm a hybrid type of guy. Too many lazy engineers, right? And so I responded, I just responded back, I understand, I like using the console myself. I prefer outboard gear over plugins. I'm not really big on plugins, but I prefer, outboard gear. Now, with me saying in that comment, it wasn't that I'm against plugins. I like plugins, but I prefer outboard gear. It's not that because someone prefers something doesn't mean they don't like the other. Like, just because I say I like outboard gear doesn't mean I don't like plugins. I like plugins. But my thought process was some of the things that they were in that lesson was like the things that you had to, like, for example, name producer, artist, name the time stamping, and a lot of stuff that was happening that you were doing through the SSL's computer. A lot of that stuff can be done with the ease of use through the DAW. DAWs make life so much easier when it comes to editing, and with their ability, to do audio, and their ability to use software plugins. I mean, DAWs do a lot of stuff, but it sounded like when he responded, it sounded like he preferred to still stay in the large format console world, stay on 24-inch 2-inch tape machines, and just rather use outboard gear for the most part. And I'm like, this is what it perceived based on the response of saying that most engineers are lazy because they don't want to work this way. Because I guess in his mind, it's been like that before DAWs. DAWs are cool, but I rather. That's the interpretation that I was getting, and I'm like, it's kind of like, how can I describe it? It's like, my thought was this: if a person, which is perfectly fine, people have the right to do however they want when it comes to how they want to do their workflow in their studios. Perfectly fine. But I'm like this: whether you want to stay tape and stay on a large format console, majority of the people, even people that would maybe go to a school that has an SSL console, or that, whatever the case, 90% of people that may go to an audio engineering school will most likely never ever work on a large console like that again. Most people are going to get them a DAW plugins and work in their homes. Period. You can learn on an SSL console all day long. Most people are not going to buy an SSL console. Most people can't even afford an SSL console, even if they were on a used market for $30,000-$40,000. First of all, SSL consoles are gigantic. They're extremely heavy. They require some serious HVAC. They're not turned off. They require a lot of maintenance, and you have to have a maintenance tech. It's a lot of cons to a large format console, even though they sound, they're the best sounding thing when they're working, when it comes to audio in the recording studio world. And not just SSLs. I'm talking about Neves, Amex, Neotex, Audience, Helios, APIs, Tridents, MCI. The list just goes on. Tascams. The list just goes on and on and on about how good these consoles are. But most people just don't want to deal with consoles of that weight. They're not cost effective to try to maintain when you don't have the kind of budget that most people have in their homes or doing stuff in their homes. They just don't. Especially tape machines. If you've never worked with a tape machines a lot of times have to be calibrated. You have to calibrate the playhead, the erase head, and the record head, and you have to maintenance those machines. And a lot of times the tape machine, it doesn't matter if it's an Atari or an MCI or Studer or whatever tape machine, they require a lot of maintenance, just like the console. It is just a lot easier to work in a DAW. DAWs are way more non-destructive than cutting up tape. But there are going to be people that just refuse to catch up or realize that's a standard. There's going to be a lot of people that's, and so to sum up the video, cause like I said, 7 minutes, I want to get your thoughts and input on this about what are your thoughts. I get it. I totally get it on the console and outboard gear and tape machines. They're great. But for what you can do with software and your DAW and plugins, and it's just, there's so many more options, effective options that way. Even though it may sacrifice a little bit of sound quality, but a lot of times that sound quality most of the time cannot be distinguished. Overall, this music is being made not for engineers. It's not being made, artists is not making music for themselves. They're making it for their audience, their fans. That's why they make music, to get the world to enjoy their craft. Well, I hope that's what they're in it for, but so to end the video, because like I said, I want to make this as short as possible, because I can turn this into an hour subject. I want to get your thoughts on, are you loving, what is your opinion? Do you like the fact that there is DAWs and plugins, or do you wish we still stay the analog tape world? Now, before I end the video, it's on YouTube. The video's not that old. If you go and, I think it's like an SSL tutorial video, instructor video, and there's also an API, and look at all the questions he's asking to do all certain things on this console. Ask yourself, is it tedious to work that way through the console, or do you just rather, especially when it comes to recalling and saving your sessions and editing in a DAW, or do you rather just use a 24-inch tape machine and a console And we didn't even got to videos on how they edit tape machines or edit the tape. You should just watch videos on what it takes to calibrate a tape machine, and then look at videos on what it takes to edit the tape, and then what it takes, the cost of tape, and the maintenance, just like the maintenance of a console. I mean, just think about all that, and post your comments in the comments of what your thought process is. Do you rather work in a DAW, or would you rather work on a console? Or would you like to be kind of a combination of both? That's what I'm going to talk about in the live stream tomorrow. That's going to be a great subject. I'm going to give you my thoughts on both, since I work both ways. I work console and I also work in the box. I work hybrid. And I'm going to talk about that. So what is your thoughts? And if you're interested, watch the video. I will definitely come back and edit and post links for you to watch the video, and tell me your thought process. Would you want to learn that way, especially on an SSL that you're not going to ever touch it, yourself? By watching that video, most people are not going to have access to an SSL 9000 console. So would you want to learn that way in a school environment, knowing that you're not going to touch one? You might come across a Neotech, or an old Neve. Let's say an old vintage Neve 8078 console. Those Neves don't have nowhere near the center section complexity of that SSL. They nowhere near of all the stuff that SSL can do. Just, whatever case. Maybe a Neve VR is close to the SSL. But give me your thought process on that. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear your opinion on your preferred workflow method. Is it, and kind of why do you like it? Is it easy for you? And so forth. Thanks for watching. You have a great one.